Okay. What do you think about my new deco? On point. So I think I'm going to start. So let me share the presentation full screen. Okay, so I wanted to do this presentation because I got a lot of questions about Motoko Bootcamp, what it is, why it exists. I also got question about my friends and my family, like on what I do with my life, because I decided 2 years ago to drop out of school and go full steam into Web3, and especially on the Internet Computer. So it's a very special ecosystem. I think it's going to be huge. That's why I jump into it. And I want to explain my story. So how I decided to drop out. And also I was really newbie to like programming and development. So I had to learn what I was doing it, I would say, how it transformed my life, and why I'm doing the bootcamp now, and why I think in the next few years I want to make it so that people can also follow the same path, or at least follow their dreams as well, because I think that that's the main point. So it's going to be a bit personal in the beginning. There will be some technical part as well. And then we'll talk more about the bootcamp and the opportunities. That's why Ben is here. Ben is the founder of TalentDB. It's a recruiting agency on the Internet Computer that connects talents with companies and startups looking to hire developers, or even other roles, actually. So let's get started. Can you see my slides? It's correct? Yeah, perfect. So so today I was preparing this presentation, and I've decided to basically tell my story in 5 parts. And every time I think I've learned something. Maybe I wasn't realizing it in the moment, but now that I look back, I've analyzed it, and I think I've learned a few things. So I'm going to share my knowledge about Web3, about what's happening right now on the internet. I think it's like very recent knowledge. Probably you're not going to find that in like universities and corporation. But this is my story, and I think that's going to be the story of many people in the next few years. So the first thing is that the internet is composed of people, and you can actually reach out to those people. And that's what I've done. This is, I think, the beginning of my story is there. I was just a curious kid watching videos on YouTube like everyone else, just scrolling. And I was interested by crypto already, but just, I would say I was an outsider. And I heard this term Web3 2 years ago. And I saw this video. I click on it, and everything that this person was saying resonated with me. So I don't know, maybe you've already had this feeling. It's like you think about something, but you cannot really put words onto it. And then at some point, someone just arrived and explained something, and you're like, oh, this is exactly what I was thinking. And this is like brilliant. So it was a 25-minute video. I watched it all, and then I reached out. I left the comments, and I said, is there a way to contact you like privately? And I think that's this comment that really like changed everything for me. If I just like watch the video, like you know, like you do usually, like everyone does usually, it's like, oh, this is cool, but you know, nothing more. And actually, this person answered me. I had a call with him, a Zoom call, and it was a 1-hour call. And this is like really, I think, a key moment for me. This is when I realized like, okay, this is interesting and I want to dive more. And there are actually people on the internet that I can connect with, and not just like articles and videos. And this is more real. So yeah, lesson one, I would say reach out to people on the internet. They are humans. So of course, some people are going to be busy. Depends on usually the person, but I would say people are way more available than what we usually think, especially if we are really interested by what they do. You reach out, you say, oh, I read something that you wrote, I watch your video, I really like this part. People will really feel they want to connect with you. So I think it's a good lesson. Okay, so then after this call and after a few more like calls with other people and articles and a few more reflection on my side, I was determined to go into Web3, whatever that means. And I decided to start learning Motoko, which is a language to build on the Internet Computer. And I was really bad at first. Like, I mean, my first applications were like really, really bad. I cannot even show it. What I've done to basically produce something, because I wanted to progress. And I think the best way to do it is to create something. So in the first few months, I was kind of stuck in this like tutorial, it's called a tutorial hell. Like you just watch videos and read things and you learn, but you don't practice anything. And I think that's like a mistake of many people. They got stuck in this tutorial hell and they never got to the point where they really build something because they think they are not ready. But actually you're never ready to, I think, build or work. You can never be totally ready. So then I switched my approach and I started to copy tutorials, but then modify something. Like I bought a course on Udemy explaining web development. And there was like 10 projects and I took all of the projects and I modified one function or like one functionality. And then I shared that with people around me, like developers, like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, what can I implement to improve it? And that brings me to this game that I created. It's called Welcome into the Metaverse. It's a little like Pokemon style game. And I was not ready at all to create this game when I started it. I just watched a bunch of tutorial. It's a framework called Phaser, and it's like nothing I had done before. But I watched those tutorial. I watched the game that the person was creating in this tutorial, and I just decided to adapt it on my own recipe and do this. It was for hackathon. So yeah, follow tutorials. You can totally copy things. I think that's totally fine, especially when you begin. But I would always add some personal touch to it, something that is relevant or something that you feel connected to it. But of course, the tech is good. And if you're like technically good, that's going to be really useful for you. But that's not what has had the most impact for me. The most impactful thing that I've done is basically connecting with more and more people, and especially people that know more about life than you and know more about work or know more about development than you. And so we had those weekly developer calls. Actually, those are still like running every Friday. It's the community of the Internet Computer. So people that are actually building on the platform, we meet. It's on Discord and we discuss about the week, the news, like technical news, what we've been working on. And I joined those calls. I was really scared and like I didn't know how to speak English. Like I was really bad. I was really bad technically as well. I didn't understand what people were talking about. And so I would say the first few months I was just listening. And then I started to ask questions. And I realized that actually more people needed me to ask questions. Because then when I ask questions, people realize, oh, maybe this is not as clear. And other people started to ask other questions. And that was really important for me to connect with the things I was learning. Connect the things I was learning with actually what people are building and what's out there, like because those people were all professional developers. I was not. And so looking at what they are doing and seeing the gap between they and me was really helpful to like always analyze and think, okay, what is my next step if I want to become like them? What should I work on? I think without those calls, I would be way more difficult to get any meaningful feedback. Also, that always the places where you get ideas, people are just relaxed, and that's where I think the best ideas are created. Actually, we had really, really good discussions. And then I want to do a shout out to two people. So Isaac is a person I've been working with since 1 year and a half now. He's a much more experienced entrepreneur than I am, and he has been always like inspiration for me, and also someone I've learned a lot from. We have been working together at ICP Squad, and now we are also working together at Golden State. And yeah, just like I feel like when you choose a project that you want to work with, you should always ask yourself, like, who do I want to work with and who do I want to become like? And don't look too much at the salary. I mean, I understand it matters for sure. Don't look too much at the like details, I would say, like administrative details. I think just look at the people and who you want to be with. That's the main thing that I've done. And so far, I'm very grateful that I've chosen this approach. And more recently, I also would like to do a shout out to Cedric. So Cedric is the CEO at Golden State, a very, very experienced and successful entrepreneur, which I'm really grateful to be able to receive mentorship and a lot of advice from him. So yeah, the tech and the people. My fourth lesson is so especially for like people that never had professional experience, which was my case because I was still at school. And so I was not ready for my first job, like not at all. I think you want to be ready, like that's normal, but especially with web development or any sort of development, like things are moving so fast that it's impossible that whatever you learn is going to be exactly the thing that you are working on, especially in Web3 as well, which is like a new field. So don't wait to be ready. Just know that you've been learning things and you will always be learning things. That's basically what is a software developer, I think. It's someone that gets paid to learn, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I was not ready at all. Took me several months to get, I would say, on track. But then I think it ended very well. We built ICP Squad, which is an NFT project on the Internet Computer that won the first Supernova Hackathon. It's a really big project. We're really big for the Internet Computer. We had 5,000 people, 5,000 members, and yeah, really proud of this project. And I had never built an NFT before doing this project. My last point is probably the like negative point to all of this. So of course, it sounds very nice and like all those success stories and all of this, but there were also like complicated moments, and especially I arrived at the moment at ICP Squad where I was feeling that it was not the place I wanted to be anymore. And I had a really hard time because I didn't have like any backup plan. But I decided still to quit and see like what's out there. And I think that was a very good decision because now I'm working at a place where I feel like totally aligned with what I'm doing. So I think at the moment where I quit, I was seeing like this decision as the kind of going back. Like I was feeling like, oh, okay, I've done all of this, and now I'm looking a job. Like I'm out there. It's a lot of step back, so it doesn't feel really great. But I realized that it's some time where you can analyze what you've been doing, especially again for like those fields like Web3 where it's so fast, things are moving really fast. You are like always on the field out there. You don't have really time to think about what you do. And when I look back at this moment, it was actually one of the best moments because I had a few weeks to, okay, it's been like 1 year and a half. I've done this. I want to do this. what is good, what is wrong, and yeah, it's totally okay in your journey to, I'll say, step back and just take some time to analyze your adventure. So that's my personal story, and I think the main question is like, why did I drop out, and why I'm so convinced of Web3 and the Internet Computer, and that's what I'm going to explain. I think there are two questions. Maybe the first one is like, why Web3 and why this specific platform? I'm curious with the audience today. Can everyone write in the chat what they think is Web3 and what they know about the Internet Computer? And are you like very suspicious? Are you very excited? Are you not aware? Like it's just something you haven't looked into it? Yeah, I'm just curious. Like I think I'll wait like 2 minutes for everyone to write what they think about Web3 and what they think about the Internet Computer. It doesn't have to be like very long. I think something very spontaneous, something that Web3 makes you think about. Is it like a revolution? Is it bullshit? Is it like marketing strategy? Is it like just a pipe dream? Web3 is interesting with DAOs, decentralized web application and blockchain. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm also excited. Front-end, back-end to fully decentralized. I think talking about the Internet Computer for the front-end and back-end part. Web with less monopoly, maybe. Yeah, I hope so. Okay. So I'll start with, okay, that's great. Web3 is about ownership of your content, data, and obviously it's the next generation of the internet. ICP is the next level blockchain, working hard to expand the network. Web3 is moving the app from being hosted and controlled by the company to be more to the user. So, I mean, there are a lot of different ways to go about that. The way I see it is, it's I'm gonna be like very excited about it, but I think it's a digital revolution, or like kind of a digital renaissance, in the sense that it's not only about tech, it's also like more of a societal movement. I'm going to explain that. And to explain that, I'm going to explain a very technical like subject. I hope I'm not going to lose anyone. If it's too complex, please like tell me like I don't understand or why something is not clear, please tell me. So why the Internet Computer? We have like tons of crypto Web3 project out there, and why did I decide to go with this crypto? Why this project in particular? And there is a technical reality behind it. So when you hear about Web3 right now, like I think there are many applications that went like viral, many crypto projects, and they are quote built on the blockchain. But actually what's happening is that the blockchain is just a decentralized ledger. So that's basically a place where you have accounts and tokens, and this is decentralized. No one can tamper with, no one can modify it. You have to go through consensus and so on. But it's only storing like address and token. So like Sebastian has 10 tokens, Ben has 100 tokens. This is not very, very, very interesting. It's just like a bank in way better, in more decentralized. And then all the part of your application, so your front end, the website that you go to, the backend, where the data is stored, the data of users, the authentication. All of this is very much still very centralized. I think we all know like the big companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple. You cannot really miss those companies when you work on the web. And so this is the current state of Web3. And all projects out there, all blockchain, whether they are like more decentralized or more secure, or they can process more transaction, in the end, it's just a big ledger. And I don't think that's going to be enough if we really want to decentralize everything. And so this is why the Internet Computer is so exciting. I think if we look at the story of crypto, what is crypto in general? So everything starts with Bitcoin. Money, very like easy concept, just address token. This is what I call generation one. And then many years pass, people start to have some crazy idea that they can program the money the way it works. They can, for example, say, okay, if you send Bitcoin to this address, then I will share with those two other addresses. And basically they introduce the concept of script. So you are able to program the money. You are able to program the flow of the money. So this is what Ethereum is about. It's a Bitcoin with some kind of programmation, but it's only the token that you can program. There is nothing like, you cannot store any data. You cannot store websites. You cannot process huge computations. So this is very much limited. And I think it's already like changing a lot of things, especially in finance, but it's not gonna go anywhere else than finance. It's already big, but this is only crypto right now. What is really interesting is this thing on the right, which is called a canister, and it's a decentralized server or a decentralized computer. When you build on the Internet Computer, you deploy canisters, and those are basically mini computer that are decentralized. So what I mean by decentralized is that it's not one company or one person that run this canister. It's a combination of nodes around the world. There is a lot of math, a lot of cryptography, a lot of computer science, a lot of things happening. But what's resulting for the user or for the developer is this canister. And this canister, you can trust it. So if there is code running on the canister, you can be sure that it's not going to be modified. You can decentralize it. So you can decide to remove any control on the canister. You can say, okay, this is out there, this website is out there, and I'm just removing all control. So no one can ever modify it. And you can build anything. You can build a website, you can build a game into it, you can build a DAO, as I'm going to explain. You can build a to-do application, a token, NFTs. It's a computer, so you can do anything that you would be able to do on a traditional server. So this was the technical part. Now what those canisters enable us to do is to basically completely decentralize the whole infrastructure stack. So the whole technological stack. When I say stack, it's the internet. So like when you go to a website, if you go to Facebook, if you go to Twitter, all the centralized aspects, it's not done yet. I mean, there is a lot of work before like being able to compete with those companies that have years of experience and they have huge systems. But the possibility is there, and it's only a matter of getting more like transaction, getting more storage. But the basic of the technology is there, and it's not gonna go anywhere. So it seems very techy, and it's good, it's great, people are excited. But I think what's really exciting is like the impact on society. And I call this a digital revolution because I think it starts on the internet, but it doesn't stop on the internet. So I'm gonna see like very, very far in the future. And I think the world is moving from corporation to communities. What I say by that is there is like this, it's called the Great Resignation. People are quitting their job. They're realizing that the world that we are in right now is basically controlled by corporations. The big corporation, Coca-Cola, Apple, Microsoft, Google, the petrol company, and so on. And this is the world that was created from I would say, back from the end of World War II to now. So this is the world of my parents, basically. And I think this world is about to end in the next few years. We all feel that in some sense, like people are starting to resign from their job. Companies are starting to have a hard time finding people to hire. Inflation, there is a lot of problems. Like we can all feel that the system is kind of rupturing in many areas. And now I believe there is a huge opportunity to make a big transition with Web3. So this is, I know it sounds a bit like far-fetched, but there is this technology. So like we can decentralize anything now. So we can build like websites and infrastructures that are controlled by your community. When I say controlled by your community, it's very simple. You have a canister, and a canister can be controlled by another canister. And let's say you want only the people, like you have this canister that control like a website, like let's say it's the next Facebook. You have another canister that is able to control your other canister. And you build like a voting system or like a democracy system or like any kind of system. You can configure whatever you want because it's programmable. So you can do whatever you want. Then you are able to build what is called a DAO, so decentralized autonomous organization. I think it's more like a decentralized organization at this point. I think the autonomous part is going to take more years to come. But you are basically able to create a system that can make money, that can create value, and where everyone that takes part in this system or everyone that uses this website is owner of it in some sense. So that can be like a token, or that can be like a digital asset that you are granted. For example, for the bootcamp, that could be your diploma. If you receive the diploma, you are part of whatever infrastructure is built for the bootcamp. And now it's starting to take shape. Very slowly first, but I think very fast after. And we can see, so we have on the right, we have a few applications that are built right now. We have replacement for all sorts of companies. So like YouTube is being replaced, Gmail, Medium, all those corporate companies like website and software are being replaced. And I don't think it will stop there. Because actually once you can do that for website, why can't you do that for like a corporation? I know it involves a lot of steps, but I think we are not too far from it with all the advancements in like, if you look at like a factory, like there are a lot of things that can be automated, and there are a lot of part of the process that could be more transparent. I think that's gonna like involve probably the next 20 to 30 years, but that could be like a real possibility. And that's what really excites me about this technology. It's really like how it's going to change the way we live and the way people are working and the way society are organized. I see it very similar to like the like invention of the first computer. Like this has really reshaped how company work and how people interact. And I think the same thing is going to happen with this Web3 and those canisters that are like a very, very primitive thing. Now it's more like an opportunistic thing, but I think it's the best time in decades to be an entrepreneur. So you can basically raise money, and it already happens. So it already happened 1 month ago. It was OpenChat. It's a messaging application that raised $5.5 million in a totally decentralized way. So when I say decentralized, there is a treasury right now that holds those $5.5 million in a token, but it's an equivalent. And this treasury can only be used if the community vote for it. So there will be proposals. For example, they can use the funds for like development, marketing, all sorts of things. But it's a vote, and no one, like even the CEO, like or like the creator of OpenChat, like the developer that was building this protocol, this person is not able to withdraw the funds. And of course, it's like based on the assumption that the technology is secure and based on the assumption that People are going to vote in a meaningful way. We don't know how the money is really going to be spent. Like there is still a lot of like unknown things, but the basis is there. And I think it's like a really huge fit that this community / application was able to raise like that much amount. And so, yeah, now I think the door is open and anyone in the world, like really anyone, can just use their laptop, create an application, build a community around them, and raise money. And they don't need like the approval of venture capitals. They don't need the approval of any government. It's just out there. And like, I don't think it's gonna be stopped. Of course, there are questions, there are risks involved, there are unknown, and it's not easy, of course, but it's out there. So that's why I call it land of opportunities. And I'm super excited. Yeah, I think it's just like, also it's very fun because it's a very different way to go about entrepreneurship. I think it's more like community oriented. So that's why I was talking about cooperation to communities. So now the bootcamp. We are at the 3rd edition. So unfortunately, the 1st edition didn't add a poster. And it's gonna take place from the 8th of the 14th of May. It's 7 days to get started on the Internet Computer. So this is for technical profiles. It's very much recommended to have like experience with, for example, JavaScript, able to use GitHub. And I would say at least like 3 to 6 months of self-learning. If you have already a web development experience as a professional, you're gonna be very good. It's online and it's totally free. And basically, this is something that I've created to onboard people onto this ecosystem. So it's very technical. It's going to explain like how those canisters work, how you can create one, the opportunities out there, like what you can build, what is already being built, what project can you join. But it's also very, I want to like really also give like the spirit of Web3, like those communities. That's one thing I want to transmit into the bootcamp. So I think it's not like any bootcamp that you've probably seen out there. We have lectures, so we have mentors from the community that come and teach lectures on technical subjects. We have 10 of them throughout the week, and all those lectures are recorded. If you are not in the time zone, if you are, for example, sleeping at this moment, we record everything and we post everything online. You have manuals, so those are like technical guides that explain the Internet Computer, canisters, Motoko, how you can build those things. And we basically use 3 platforms. The first one is Discord. That's where like most of the interaction happen. That's where we announce the lecture, and that's where we connect with the community. We have GitHub. GitHub is where we have the bootcamp repo with like the challenges and the project that you will build. And we also use Zoom for the lectures and webinars. I'm really looking forward to like replace those applications with like alternatives, but I think we are still a bit early. So you learn, then you build. There are 5 projects to build during the week. You will learn how to build a token, how to build an NFT, and you will see how you can build like a mini DAO. You also have a more simple project, like I think the first day is a calculator. So it's going from the basis to like more Web3 specific topic like token, NFTs, and DAOs. Learn, build, and then connect. I think that's very important. As I said, like the most important part of like joining an ecosystem is really connecting with the people. And that's why we have really like a huge aspect of the bootcamp, which is connecting. We have networking session, we have gaming session, and we have like a lot of interaction and memes that we try to introduce into the bootcamp to make sure that no one is left out there just building on their own, but they have to connect with their team. We have online, so you can connect online. We have a lot of people that met online and work online now. But if you are interested, we have also in-person events. And it started last bootcamp. We had one in Porto, Portugal. But now it's growing. And we have the community members, so people from past bootcamp that are looking to organize their own bootcamp. So we have a big one in Buenos Aires with 100 attendees that we are expecting. We have one in Turkey where we have around 20 attendees. We have one in Argentina and in Germany, one in Uganda as well, and in a few other countries. There is the list. We have the list available if you're interested on the Discord. Do you have a question, Ben?
No, in the chat there's a couple questions. I'm just giving you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through all of them. I'm just gonna finish the bootcamp part and then we'll go into Q&A. Yeah, this one I think is very specific to this edition. We are introducing a new feature. We'll have a dashboard where we can follow the progress of all the person attending the bootcamp. We will put people into teams and you have a score of your team. The idea is to work together and complete as much challenge as possible to receive rewards and so on. So I think this bootcamp is going to be even funnier than previous edition. And this is going to be the first time that we release this platform. Okay, imagine you've done your 7 days. That's only the beginning of your journey. That's why I have Ben today. Wanted to talk a bit about TalentDB. It's a recruiting agency. So this is actually where you will find opportunities and find jobs to get into this ecosystem. But it's not the only choice. You also have access to a huge community of entrepreneurs and builders. So if you are looking to start your own project, that's also a possibility. And also, this bootcamp is powered by CodeState, and CodeState is a venture studio. So a venture studio is a company that creates other company. And if you are interested into becoming an entrepreneur and creating something on the Internet Computer, we are very much excited to welcome you. And you will receive this diploma, which is totally on-chain. So everything is built on the Internet Computer. And it's going to give you access to a few different features into applications that I think are very exciting. So you will have access to a community on Discover. It's a platform on the Internet Computer where you'll be able to meet other developers and other builders. How do you join the bootcamp? You need to qualify. It's pretty easy. So you just need to deploy a canister and you will find the relevant tutorials to do so. I can also keep the links in the chat. So deploy your canister. You note the ID. Each canister has an ID. You note the ID. And then you fill out the form. We are going to ask you a few questions. So what you're looking to do, what experience do you have, all sorts of things. Once you've completed the form, you will receive your role on Discord, Motoko Bootcamp 2023, and then you're ready to go, just logging at the kickoff ceremony that will take place on the 8th of May. And we will explain how the week is gonna take place. So that's it. I'm gonna try to answer the question now. I've seen a lot of them. So what time zone for the bootcamp? So as I've said, the main time zone is gonna be based on New York time. But we have created a schedule that is very adaptable. So if you miss a lecture, it's always possible to catch up whenever you wake up. So the goal is that everyone has their own schedule, some people have to work as well. So you are always able to work at your own pace. I would say the main thing is to make sure you have 4 to 5 hours of availability every day at a minimum. But if it's at night or if it's in the morning, it doesn't really matter because you will always be able to catch up. And you will also be put in a team that corresponds to your time zone so that you can also have your own group that goes with you and follow the same pace as you. So the blockchain is the Internet Computer. It's not Ethereum, it's not Solana, it's the Internet Computer, so ICP. Is it related to STO? I'm not sure I know what is STO. What is STO? Maybe, Praven, you want to security token offering. So yeah, there is a financial system with rules that exist already, and of course there are gonna be some like complication to all of this. We are talking about money, so when there is money, there are laws, and there is a system in place that is probably going to apply rules of like existing structures. But we have no answer. Like at the moment, the problem, I would say the main problem is that governments and like organizations are looking into crypto, and they are trying to regulate as the current like banking system, but it's not. Like it's fundamentally different. It's like if you look at when the car appeared and the first regulations, they were trying to adapt like regulations from horses to cars, but of course it's completely different. So that's why we come up with like the rules for driving and driving license. And I think the same thing is going to happen with crypto. The main difference with crypto is that crypto is really hard to regulate by itself. You can regulate the people like that are working on it. You can regulate the corporation that are working on it, but you cannot regulate the core of it. Like it's impossible because that's the main point of it. So I'm curious to see how it's gonna look like. I would say there are different jurisdictions, there are different countries. There is always a possibility, if you are looking to do something, there is always the possibility of using another like legislation, because crypto is completely out of border, I would say. And I don't think that crypto will not be regulated. I think it's gonna be regulated. But there is also a point which is probably going to be regulating the system that is trying to regulate crypto. So we'll see. And yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and it's always moving. And I always try to keep in mind that some people have interest, and we always have to like keep in mind that when laws are passed, and when laws are passed, some corporation have like interest. Like for example, banks, of course, they are gonna block crypto as long as they can. How to work with data outside Internet Computer on a decentralized way. So you can, so this is technical, but from a canister, you can do an HTTP request outside to like any Web2 server, like any Web2 infrastructure. So you can totally communicate with the outside world. You can, if you need, for example, the weather, like you need to call like an API that tells you the weather, you can totally do that from within a canister, and it's done in a decentralized manner. So because it's basically below your canister, you have like nodes that actually run those canisters, and all of them are going to send the request, and they are going to come to an agreement on the request. It's a very technical topic, but you can look into it if you look HTTP request ICP. Do we have more questions? Ben, do you want to present TalentDB?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Thanks, Seb. Quite the story, my friend. Host disabled.
Yeah, it goes into all sort of.
I'm going to need you to disable participant screen sharing, or AKA
yeah.
stop.
Let me just stop. Yeah.
I want to thank all 27 of you for showing up on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Here, how about I do this? You, I'll send you a Slack. Quickly here. I can't seem to share.
Let me just.
I just
okay. Should be good.
Oh wait, it's working. Never mind. Funny how that works.
I'm going to answer just 2 questions. So the programming language is Motoko. It's fairly easy to learn if you already have experience with like JavaScript or even Solidity. And if you don't have experience, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but it's totally accessible, and we have the resource for you. How do I qualify? I really want to be there. So I think the main thing to qualify is to join Discord, and then you will follow, like you will understand from there. Let me send you the link. Yeah, join Discord. You need to deploy an application, but I would say once you are in Discord, you have a lot of people that will help you. We have a very supportive community. So just like ask, what do I need to do? And people will help you through it. Okay.
Can you see my screen, Seb?
Yeah, I can see it.
Right. So one, thanks everybody for showing up. Two, TalentDB is still a baby. And I say baby because we don't have a Twitter account, we don't have a website yet. We will be adding channels in both Code and State and the Motoko Bootcamp Discord group. So you'll be able to track kind of roles that we're working on here. But Seb kind of already touched on what is TalentDB. TalentDB is the first recruiting agency built for founders and builders on the IC, simply put, right? Why is this important to you is because I've worked with a number of boot camps in the past in Web2, and how it works is that you successfully graduate through a boot camp, and then from there, we help you find jobs in the marketplace, right? So I'll give you a little sneak peek here of some of the current projects we are currently working with. So this beauty here is the 8-year gang DAO, pretty straightforward, right? They'll be looking for a bunch of Motoko devs, and besides developers, we also will help with community managers, social, product designers, product managers, and the list goes on. Next one here is Mod Club. This was our first client, so they're decentralized moderation and proof of humanity. So basically, anything that you'd see on social media, there is a company that will monitor what's going on to make sure it keeps it clean and nice, playing nice in the sandbox, if that makes sense. They will also be looking for devs and a bunch of other variety of roles. This one here is pretty cool. It's Canister. Canister, as Seb already showed, it's the Spotify for Web3, and it's all built on the IC. Same thing. They're about to, I like to say, pop off. They have 2 MVPs. They're very excited. They'll be looking for a minimum of 4 devs plus more as funding comes in. We have Funded. Funded is a Web3 crowdfunding company, right? And once again, they'll be looking for Motoko devs and probably a community manager and PM and designers. This one here, I like, because I have a little bit of a gambling problem, just joking. It's called VaultBet. VaultBet is, once again, it's a decentralized sports betting exchange. You can bet with ICP and you can also bet with Bitcoin. We are currently working with them to help them find a Motoko dev, and also I'll be helping them find a community manager in the coming weeks. This one here is Souls of Meta. It is the first ever cross-game win-to-earn, fun-to-earn, multi-chain, GameFi, NFT metaverse with PvE and PvP battle. So that's a lot, but these guys are really, they have a strong following on Twitter. They get a good Discord, and they are looking right now for a Motoko dev. So that's something I'm going to do after I'm done this. And then this one is very cool. Hot or not, it is the Web3 version of TikTok. It's the first, IC's first decentralized TikTok, right?
Yeah,
And
and I think that's also the most popular application on the IC right now. They have basically had to limit the registration because they didn't have the tech like to scale that much. I think they are crowding, like they have thousands of users, tens of thousands of users. So yeah,
there's backlog.
it's
And also they need everything from what I've discussed with them, right? So there'll be, this is what the reason why I wanted to show you this is, one is that this agency it's going to succeed, and failure is not an option for myself or the Coden State team. To you guys coming in here and successfully going through the Motoko Bootcamp and graduating, the companies I'm showing you, or projects that I'm showing you right now, are chomping at the bit to hire people, right? So you can literally be almost rest assured that you'll have employment once you successfully graduate the boot camp. That's kind of what we have going on right now. I will give you a sneak peek. I'm a big fan of not telling people unless something is kind of locked and loaded, as in like an agreement signed. But Seb showed there's Open Chat, Nuance, and Cubetopia have all expressed interest in hiring Motoko devs. They're just waiting for some funding. So there's at least 24 projects currently right now that are excited about TalentDB, the fact that we have this boot camp, and that they can tap into these resources. So, and like I mentioned, kind of to circle back here, we'll have a TalentDB channel in the Coden State and Motoko Bootcamp Discord. So I will monitor that. So feel free to drop messages. You can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Benny P. I'm pretty active out there. So if you see anything, feel free to follow and or DM me there.
Yeah, and I think that's just the beginning because, like as you said, TalentDB is very recent, and like the interest and the excitement from the project that you've received is very, very exciting for the future. I think more and more projects are like raising funds at the moment. So I think in the next like 6 months, the needs for developers and other sort of role will be very, very high.
Even so, also, just let me ask you, we have the ICP community conferences coming up after the Motoko Bootcamp in Miami. If you're in the area, join us. I'm sure we could probably work out a special deal for tickets. We'll work on that. Seb and I will work on that. But also, a lot of these people are going to be there. There's going to be pitch decks for people to raise funds. I'll be chatting with everybody who's attending there to let them know about TalentDB. Most of the people I've already spoken to, and they wanted to speak with me in person. So, you know, the ones that I showed you are ready to go. And also, it's perfect timing. You guys come out of this, we go into the community conference, and when we come back, I'll be announcing other projects you guys can work on.
Yeah. And there are all the other options, like, I mean, there are also bounties, like you can also take on bounties. There are a lot of technical things that need to be fixed. And you can receive ICPs or even dollars for that. There are grants, so you can receive grants for working on a project. You can try out an ID. And you can also join like next bootcamps, come back to give back to the community. And you can also reach out to Coden State if you have an ID. That will make it easier for other people to build. So not like a game or an NFT project, but if you have like if you are working on developer tooling or anything like a bootcamp, anything that makes the life of other developer easier, feel free to reach out at Coden State. I'm going to answer the question. Can we have access to the recording? Yeah, I'll put the recording out there. Is there a TalentDB site? I don't think there is right now, right?
The first thing I'm going to do by the end of this week, I'll have a Twitter account up and running, and the goal is to, what I'd like to do is like every week is showcase one of the projects and what they're hiring for, but also I'll have I'll figure something out. I'll have a link connected to the Twitter account where you'll be able to go and take a look at either a Notion page or something where you can see what active roles are open right now and the potential of roles that are projects that are coming up and what the roles may look like.
Cool. All right. Do we have last questions? Your exams are about to come. So right now I have two choices. What are your choices? What are the exams about? ICP or exam?
ICP.
What? You know my answer. So
You just listened to Seb's story, but
can't you do both? I mean, how many graduates from previous bootcamp were hired? Do you have the number?
How many graduates were there? I know that we had like at least half a dozen people that have been, I call them deployed.
We had 42 people that graduated. Yeah, we had 42 people, but keep in mind that like not everyone that graduates joined the talent pool. Like people also like that graduate. Some people were already working on their own project. We had people from companies that came into the bootcamp. So I would say almost everyone that has the level can be hired. Like I think there is more like it's more on the side of the talent pool that we have that it's missing. Like we need more talents because companies are hiring like crazy, especially if you are good with Motoko or Rust. Yeah, there are other opportunities for like non-technicals, but I'd say right now it's more of technical opportunities.
Here's the thing: if you want a job, you need to make sure that you're part of the Talent DB database.
What are the chances of being hired after the bootcamp? It's very hard to answer. Like, I think you have to see it like as it's possible to get hired. Some people will get hired, like a lot of them. But it also depends on where you are in your journey. Like if you are only starting to code, it's very unlikely that you will find a job. But it's also a very good way to kickstart your journey. And I know of people that it's the third edition of the bootcamp. And I know people that did the first one, the second one, and are coming back for the third one. So it depends. If you are looking, like if you already have professional experience, it's probably going to be very easy to get hired after the bootcamp. If you don't, yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is the projects I've spoken to is that some of them are in beta testing and they're open to people coming in and helping them beta test, right? They'll give them a link, whatever the case may be, and you guys can kind of be the testers of things, and you'll get either there's bounties or paid an ICP or whatever kind of the structure is. There's a number of projects that need help. People that are coming in new with minimal coding experience, this is a great opportunity to kind of get your feet wet, understand, but also be a part of projects so you can build out your resume, if you will. And what Seb mentioned before, people that have come in with, a couple of years to, some of them have 10 years of developer experience, whatever language that they're using. And then, it's a little bit easier to pick up the language itself. And also companies want to scoop people up very quickly. Not saying that you won't have an opportunity. I'm just, kind of how things evolve is normally the people that have strong coding experience and then come in and crush the Motoko Bootcamp normally get picked up pretty quickly. But I will help everybody that's in the database find something. I'll work with you and kind of do whatever I can to make sure that there's success here.
Yeah, totally. And what would you recommend Rust or Motoko for getting deployed? If you mean for getting started, I would totally recommend Motoko. Rust is really it's more complicated to learn. And I think the most important part, especially like right now, is to really get things shipped out there, build kind of your name on the ecosystem. And I think you can do it faster with Motoko than Rust. So I would go for Motoko, and I would take like the shortcut like I did, instead of having to compete with people that have more experience with Rust. But both options are good as well.
I also
how
have
much
an
time?
idea. I have an idea just before we jump. I'll talk to Seb, and I think this could be a good idea. Is that we'll do. I'm happy to give time to you guys, and I could do office hours, like Talent DB office hours weekly. We could do it on Discord. So everyone who's on Discord will put a calendar in there or an announcement, and we'll pin it there. So like, you know, every Thursday at whatever time, and I'll try to figure out a time that's easy for everybody, but it will be recorded, and then it'll pop up there, the kind of questions that can just assist. No Talent DB Discord link. We're just going to add a channel into the Motoko and Code and State channels.
How are the session gonna be? Yeah, do you have something to add?
No.
How the session's gonna be scheduled? Like, the curriculum is available. Is gonna be available tomorrow on Discord, and it's usually 1 hour sessions. You have. It depends on where you live. Like, if you are in Europe, it would be. The Discord link I already sent. If you are in Europe, it's gonna be like afternoon, basically, most of the lectures. I think there was another question. How much time do I have to give if I already know Rust? If you already know Rust, I think you can, you don't have to spend your whole day on the bootcamp. I think you can like kind of finish it, like I would say, with half of your day. So that would give you some time for your exams. Also keep in mind that like this is only the beginning, and everything that is done for the bootcamp, like every resource, every project is open source out there. So you will be able to do the bootcamp after the bootcamp. Like if you want to just do the project on your own, of course you lose like the community aspect of it because you're just gonna be on your own, but you will still be able to learn. And there will be more bootcamps, there will be more like events, there will be hackathon, there will be a lot of things to like get started on the IC. So if you have your exams, yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone that joined. I really appreciate it, and it was a great time. I hope to see a lot of.
Yeah. Drop your Twitter handle in here, and then anyone else who has other follow-up questions, you can DM us on Twitter or jump into the Discord group, and you can ask questions there too.
Yeah, the bootcamp will be easier if you learn a bit of JavaScript. Though I would say now it's getting like really close to the deadline, so I wouldn't go into JavaScript now. I will follow you, visionary. No, yet I would say like the bootcamp is 1 week, so don't go into like a JavaScript course. You can already start to go into our Discord and ask questions, and you can get started only with Motoko. You will be fine. Cool.
Thanks for your time, everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. See you on Discord and at the bootcamp, and have a great weekend.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.